Hey, it's your man, Doc Love, aka the Breakup Coach, relationship speaker, and relationship education advocate, back with the Why Is This So Challenging podcast. Now, as always, I have to introduce my wonderful wife and my lovely co-host, Miss Lady Love. How are you doing today, Miss Lady Love?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Like always, we want to thank you all for all of your support, all of the things that you've been doing as far as commenting, watching our videos, watching our shorts. We just thank you all so much for all of your support. We're going to keep doing this. We've gotten a lot of great comments just telling us that they appreciate the content, they enjoy watching it, and we're going to keep doing this because we know that it is needed and wanted and desired. But we also want you all to participate. Give us your comments, your feedback, anything that you can to just let us know how we're doing and the things that maybe you want us to do more of. So just let us know. And also, as we said, we are about community. So we are forming a community very soon. So please stay tuned for that. We want you all to be a part of it. We want our day ones to come in and just help us and support us. And we just want everybody to be a part because we want to grow this thing where we have people that we know we are helping to have the relationships that they desire. So we definitely want you to be a part of our community. So as it is, we're going to let Lady Love just kick it off and get us started with our lesson today and what we're going to talk about. And hopefully you're going to enjoy this.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about relationship preparation.
Oh, yeah.
And we all know that preparation before you do anything is a very wise decision. You never want to go into something not being fully informed, not being able to at least think about the do's, the don'ts, the pros, the cons. And so relationship preparation is extremely important when you're talking about creating a relationship that is deeply connected and could lead to marriage if that's your desire.
Definitely. So for me, the way I see it is you really don't get in life what you want. You get in life what you prepare for. And that's how important preparation is. When we think about it, the things that we prepare for, when we prepare for the job that we want, we get educated, we go to school or we take a trade or something like that. When we think about if we want to do some type of sport or something like that, we have to prepare our bodies by exercising, by working out. And it's the same with relationship. But I believe a lot of people don't look at relationship in the same way as they look at preparing for, let's just say, a speech. And so that's why this is so important, because it does take the same type of preparation, and how you prepare is so important for the outcome and what you're going to receive. Now, for me, preparation starts first with your thoughts. When it comes to preparation, you have to prepare your thoughts because your thoughts is the beginning of everything. So really the question you have to ask yourself is, how do I think about relationship? What do I think about relationship? Am I thinking about it in a positive way? Am I thinking about it in a productive way? I enjoy going through the process of learning a new person or learning that person and that person learning me. If you enjoy that process, that's a good thing. But also just understanding that preparation is also about you just using whatever resources you have and making sure that you channel those resources to be able to do what it is that you want to do in the relationship that you desire. So it starts with the thought, and that's a good way to start as far as preparing for your relationship.
So when you're talking about changing your thinking, changing your thought process or your mindset, what does that look like? Like, what are those tools that a person can say, okay, I'm ready to either start a relationship or I'm ready to start a different type of relationship? Maybe you've had situationships in the past, or maybe you have had relationships that you weren't happy about having. So you want to have a deeper relationship, or you want to have a healthy relationship, which you would deem as a healthy relationship for you, one that's not full of a lot of roller coasters and instability. What type of tools do you feel can be used to change someone's thinking process?
Definitely. The first tool that you would use, and I would recommend this for anybody, is basically figuring out what type of relationship you want to model. Meaning, if you know that you've seen, and we used before the Cosby Show as an example, or maybe something that's more modern day, modeling that situation, or basically taking inspiration from that relationship or the way that relationship looks to you. That's a very great way to do it. But it also starts with you teaching yourself what it is that you want to see. Reading is so important when it comes to teaching yourself what it is that you would like to see. Oftentimes, of course, we can also use a coach or somebody that has a lot of knowledge. It may be a very wise uncle or aunt or maybe a grandparent, but going to a resource that you know has the knowledge and wisdom that really understands the best way for you to go about having the type of relationship you desire. So it's really about just making sure that you have a good model, something that is very healthy, that you can look at and know this is my inspiration, and allow yourself to just get immersed in that. Good books that you can read, good podcasts like this podcast or podcasts like these that you can watch constantly, so that you're immersing yourself in so much positive energy in yourself and on yourself at this time. The negative is going to go away. As they say, when light enters the room, darkness has to leave. So as you put more light into what it is that you're doing, you're basically saying, I'm putting in light through reading, through watching a show or shows that inspire me to have the relationship I want. And I'm talking to people that give me that same energy, that same feedback. Then that's the way that you prepare to chase away all of those negative outcomes in relationship and now start to have the positive ones.
Awesome. So what I heard is that you change your visualization. You start visualizing something different, because we are creative beings. We're creative people. What we see is what we produce,
yes,
what we have in our life. If we keep seeing a thing, then that's what we're going to continue to see. If we change our perspective and our visualization of what we see, that's what it sounds like you were saying, that we're now going to see something different. We're going to have a different outlook. We're going to have a different mindset and a different process.
Yes, yes. And that goes to process, because that is so important. Having a process when it comes to what it is that you want is so very important. And I know some people thinking, well, process, how does a process play out? But here's how I would look at that. We all know that there are a few things that we look for when we're wanting to be with someone. So it's about preparing a process of the things that you know are your non-negotiables, the things that you know are the things that are vital that you need to see and have in a relationship. Now, before you do the process and start to use things that are more external, you also have to understand that you want something that's enduring, meaning we know that externally we want someone that is attractive to us, but we also want to make sure that we have someone that is somebody of great character, have great morals and great beliefs as far as a structure and knowing how to have a good relationship and be in one. So it's about also just making sure that you put together a process that as you start dating or you start meeting someone, is this person checking the boxes of a person that has good morals? Is this somebody that has a belief in relationship? He loves and desire a relationship. Or if it's a man and you're dating a woman, does she have these same qualities? So you're seeking after someone that basically has or embodies those things. And as we always say, make it about the process, not about the person. Because oftentimes if we make it about the person can let us down. But if we make it about that process and we set up a process that we know is going to allow us to check those boxes. And if they don't check the boxes, fine. Let them go about their way and be with someone else. But you want somebody that's going to check your boxes, because you know that if they're checking your boxes, there's a good chance that relationship will be the one that's best prepared for you and the one that you're going to get the most out of.
Awesome. So I kind of want to make this a little bit personal.
All right, let's go.
When we're talking about people having their own process and they're having their own non-negotiables, what I call them, I'm going to give you 3 of mine. When I decided that I wanted to get married, that I wanted to come from widowhood, and I wanted to have a marriage. I wanted to have a very committed, deep-rooted relationship. I'm just going to give 3 things for time's sake.
Let's go.
That I wanted to have, and I would like to hear what your checklist was.
Okay.
So one of the things for me that's really important is that if a man has child or children, that relationship is good with his child or children. Now, you don't have any children, so that wasn't anything that had to be checked off of the box. So that was kind of a challenge that I didn't have to go through in that process. One of the other things is having a very respectable man. I've been blessed in my marriage and even in dating have met very respectable men. And so that wasn't going to change, especially when you're talking about marriage and the person that you want to spend your life with. And so that was something that meant something to me. A person that had those type of respectable qualities, good morals, a person who has their own inner convictions. And that was really important to me. And I'll say the third thing is a person who wanted to freely enjoy life. I have been through enough in this life where I wanted to be able to enjoy life, and I wanted to be able to be myself. Like some of the things that we love to do, well, we love to do a lot of things, but we are very spontaneous in us being able to do things. And so that may be kind of more of a surface level one, but I just wanted to use that one to say that if you know that these are the things that you desire, don't back down off of those things. There's definitely nothing wrong with meeting new people and getting to know those people. But if you know at the core of what you desire and what you want in your relationship, if you know that's not what you're getting or what you're going to get with this person, because that's just not who they are, then you're going to make yourself and that person miserable.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I know that sometimes people get desperate and they just say, you know what, well, I'm just going to settle for this. And when I settle, I mean, you settle from knowing what you truly desire, and you choose something different because you feel like nothing else will come along. So I know of people who really want an outgoing person, but they end up settling with somebody who's more laid back, or vice versa. A person who really, they want more of a laid back lifestyle, but then they feel like, well, this person comes along and that bothers them. This is only an issue when that person does not align with them. And it bothers them. They're like, man, they always talking. They always up in somebody's face. Like, you may have some concerns of them being flirty or whatever, and it's just who they are as a person.
Right.
This is very important, that in preparation of relationship, that you are honest with yourself.
Yes.
And that's something that I always say is don't lie to yourself.
Exactly.
That's the worst thing that you can do, because the person that's going to be hurt in the end, maybe that other person, but ultimately it's going to be you.
Exactly.
Because you weren't true to yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm going to tell my 3, but I have a saying that I say about lying to yourself. Lying to yourself is worse than having a person lie to you, because when you lie to yourself, there's nobody there to correct you. There's nobody there to stop you or tell you that you're wrong for whatever it is that you're lying to yourself about. And the reason why that's so important is because if somebody lies to you, you can kind of find some evidence of that. You can be like, okay, what's the real truth? Let me research that. But if you lie to yourself, there's nobody else to tell you that you're wrong. And oftentimes people will embody that lie. They'll start to believe it. And so that's another thing that's so bad, because once you start believing a lie, there's not too many things somebody else can tell you to convince you. So I definitely think that's very important. Is don't lie to yourself. Actually take the time to find out what is best for you. Now, for me, my 3, I'm just going to go through them. And when I think about the 3 that I want to say, really, my wife embodies those 3. And that's what was so important to me. Number 1 for me was actually just someone that I knew was positive, that was uplifting and inspirational, that type of person. And that's what she is, someone that is positive, just gives me a positive word. And always, especially in a spiritual way, just giving me something that's always positive and uplifting. So that's definitely one of the key ones for me. Number two, and this is a huge one, is accountable. I have dated a lot of people. And I'm here to tell you, she is one of the few people that I've ever dated that really showed accountability, that really would be like, let me analyze this, sit back and really see, okay, did I do everything in this the right way? Were there things that I did that I need to take account for? So that is so critical and just so important to have someone that understands. It's not always that any one person does anything wrong, but when you do, let's say, make a mistake or not see things in a certain way, just take accountability for it. It's really going to pay you back in the bunches, because when you do take that accountability, just like responsibility, it grows you. It helps you to grow and it helps you to be better the next time around. And then the last one was one that just really got me, especially when we first started dating many years ago, was just how appreciative she is about just anything. I mean, some of the smallest things, you're just like, oh, this is nothing, but she's just so thank you and just so gracious and grateful about any little thing that you do. So, of course, the big things are greatly appreciated, but it's those qualities that I know for me were the ones that just made me love her. There's so many more, but I'm just using 3 for right now. And I think that's what a lot of men are looking for, are people that embody those qualities and characteristics. So for me, that's definitely the biggest 3, but it's so many more. Yes. I just can't name them all.
Yeah, we probably would go past our podcast because I could truly say that everything and more that I could have even asked for that you embody. And so I really believe that's what I call the God factor.
Yes.
Is that there are some people who believe that there is no God factor. You just choose who you choose and then you just work through that relationship. But I believe that there is a God connection that we have. I believe that we are very well suited for each other.
Exactly.
And we were at a place of wanting direction as far as, is this the person that I should be with, rather than me just kind of make my way with someone else. And so I really value that. I really value the process that we individually went through, which was very similar, which we talked about in our earlier episodes, so we won't go into it today. But I really appreciate that because there were things that as our marriage continues on that I'm seeing like, wow, I really need this aspect of what my husband brings to me in my life because of my own personality or my own journeys that I'm going through within myself. I need this type of person to help me through this journey of life. And so I think it's very important in preparation for you to have those checklists. To me, it's quality over quantity. It's quality. It's like you can have really superficial things on your list. But that's not going to really serve you in the long run. You want to start thinking about the character of the person. You want to start thinking about day-to-day living and what you want your life to look like with this person. So preparation is not having on there what their favorite food is or things like that. I mean, that may be important to some people, but in the scope of life, you want to look into the deeper inner qualities of what you desire for that person, as well as what you can give to the other person. It's really easy to have your little checklist and you're measuring this person, which is very important for you to do, by the way. Because like we said before, when you're starting to date, you need to be thinking about what you want. You need to be thinking about yourself. And then when you go into relationship with that person, you need to think about what they want as well. So have your checklist for them, but also measure yourself against that checklist. If you want an honest person, a respectable person, you need to be able to look within yourself and say, hey, am I honest? Am I a respectable person? Or whatever the case may be, because you should never expect somebody else to show up a different way than what you're willing to give yourself.
Exactly. And I love a word that you used, which was measure. And another way you can look at preparation is how you prepare a meal. We have to measure the ingredients that we use. So measuring and being able to understand, all right, what ingredients am I going to use to make this cake or make this dish? And all of the elements that I need. I might need cooking oil, or I might need flour. I might need a pan. So it's understanding that if you want to prepare a relationship, what are the ingredients that I need? What are the things that's essential to me for preparing the relationship that I want to have? How much time should I allow for this to cook? How much time should I allow for it after it's cooked to cool down? It's all of those things. So if you want to use a guide, think about how you would prepare a meal, because you know that if you don't have the right ingredients, you're not going to get the results that you want. You know, if it's supposed to be cooked at 400 degrees and you're cooking it at 250, it's not going to turn out right. Or if you're supposed to cook it for 30 minutes, but you ended up cooking it for an hour and a half. It's those things. So it's understanding those elements of preparing a meal that also is important for preparing the relationship that you desire.
Exactly. And I also wanted to just add that we're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is trying to be perfect. Well, I'll speak for myself. I'm not trying to be perfect.
Right.
Period. I am not trying, but I am becoming the best version of myself, whatever that looks like. And I know that if I have a desire to be the best Michelle that I can be, then that's good enough for me. So I wanted to just point that out, is that nobody's going to be perfect. These lists that we have, they are a guideline of the type of person that we desire. And I have to backtrack even when I said something about eating, like what they like to eat. That's important too. Because if a person is a meat eater versus a person being vegetarian or vegan, that's going to be a lifestyle changer. And for some people, people can live in the same household and have different dietary needs.
That's true.
I wanted to just point that out, that these are guidelines. But if you know, matter of factly, I don't want to be married to or live with someone, and this is who they are, that's what you don't want to back off of. I don't want to say that just because I say that I want a respectable and an honorable man with morals, I expect him to be perfect. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, I'm not expecting that every single day he's going to be floating on a cloud, because we are humans. So just consider that there needs to be some non-negotiables that you have in your life, because if you don't have these non-negotiables and you sway based on your emotions and just based on how you feel in the moment with this person, and you don't have some guidelines to what you really, really want and being honest with yourself, then you may end up miserable. And the only reason I say this, because out of experience, I personally have done this in my younger years, and I personally know people who have done it too, and it has led to divorce. Because that person is not going to change over 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you wanted them to change. They're not going to change if that's not who they were from the beginning. And we don't marry potential of what our mate is going to become. We marry who is standing before us that day. There's nothing wrong with you having expectations of growth, but you don't know over the course of the years how your mate and how you are going to evolve.
Exactly. And so we want you to understand how important preparation is, because we understand that preparation educates you as well. This is where you learn and you grow so that you know what it is that you want. And when you focus in on that, that's what you're going to receive. It's about understanding that it starts with your thoughts. If you cannot think in a way that's positive about relationship, then it's not going to go anywhere. You have to have positive thoughts where you are thinking about the relationship in a positive way. If you feel negative, or if the negative far outweighs the positive, then you know that this is not going to be a healthy relationship for you to be in. You have to look at this from a standpoint of, all right, once I prepared myself for this, is this the relationship that I prepared for? Is this everything that I thought about, that I put my energy toward? And if you've done that preparation and you made sure that you prepared yourself so that person could find and receive everything they need to find and receive in you as well, because that is so important. You pointed that out, is that it's not just about that person being prepared for us, but it's also about us being prepared for that person, because we could be as prepared as we want to be for our mate, but if we're not everything that we need to be to them, then they're not going to choose us, or they're not going to want to be with us. So when you're doing your preparation, make sure that you are doing the preparation on yourself so that you're everything for that person once that person does show up.
Absolutely. So in preparation, we talked about visualization. We talked about process.
Yes.
What is another aspect of relationship preparation that you would say?
We have to also do something called practice.
Yes.
And even though that could get funny, because we know of a famous basketball player that thought practice was totally not important. Let me tell you that it is. It's very important. I remember a book by young Van Zandt. I think it was called In the Meantime. And in that book, she talked about how she practiced by doing the preparation of preparing an extra plate at her dinner table with spoons and knives and forks, because she was preparing herself for the person that's going to sit there at some point. So practicing something that puts you in the mind state of, this is going to happen, so I need to practice doing this so that when it happens, I'm already ready. I want to use another analogy that some people, especially if you love college football, will understand totally. I remember hearing stories about the Alabama Crimson Tide football team and how under Nick Saban, they prepared like they were playing a game on a Tuesday or Wednesday, not on a Saturday. And they said they would go so hard at practice that by the time they played the game was easy, because they had practiced so hard against each other. They were so prepared for the game. That's why the games would just flow so easily for them, and they would win by so much. So practicing whatever it is that you want your situation to turn out to be is so important, because practice does make perfect. And I know you're thinking, okay, how do you practice relationship? But part of that is being active, knowing what it is that you want, and actually practicing dating, practicing the things that you know that you want to see. So it's putting that practice into work, right? Because we definitely know that practice does make perfect, and practice is important.
It is very important. And when I think about practice, I think about practicing in relationship where you're practicing how well you argue.
Yes. Okay.
You're probably going to date different people, or maybe the person you're currently dating is the person, or maybe you just got married. But practice healthy arguments. I feel as if every argument should get a little bit better.
Yeah.
And we know that practice and progress is not something that just you're going to climb a ladder, but that sometimes you may get it right, and sometimes that argument went real left. And it may made you feel like, oh, I'm 10 steps back. It's not that. It's not linear.
Right.
So practicing the things that are good in your relationship that's going to help you grow, and that's going to help you have even more deeper connection.
Yes.
Because life is going to happen.
Yes.
There's two things that can happen as you progress in life. Situations and circumstances can draw you away from each other. They can actually draw you towards each other.
Exactly.
And so when I think about practice, I think about those relationships that you're in and learning more effective ways of how you disagree, how you argue, how you compromise. If you're in a relationship right now, that's something that you can think about.
Yes.
It's that, hey, we know people are going to have disagreements. So not being like me and hoping that you're never going to have another argument, which is unrealistic,
right,
is probably not the best thing to do. But what is the best thing to do, which I no longer see things that way, but what is the best thing to do is say, hey, when we come from that argument, let's talk about it.
Right.
Like, what happened? But let's kind of look into this. Let's kind of dissect, where were you coming from? And when I did that, well, how was I feeling? And when you said that to me, like, where was that coming from? And being honest.
Right.
And that's a hard conversation.
Exactly.
Right? It's hard when you have to tell that person, like, I was mad with you. I was frustrated with you.
Right.
You said this. It triggered me. I don't like that. He doesn't like this. So, like, to me, that's practice.
Yes.
I've heard conversations between people where they're like, I'm not going to do for him in dating, or I'm not going to do for her in dating what I would do if I'm married to her or to him. These little analogies and stuff like that. I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
The reason why I don't agree with that is because if you are a wife internally before you're even a wife externally.
Exactly.
And so part of, to me, of my wifehood is I'm in service to my husband. And I would think part of his husbandhood is that he's in service to me. So I'm not going to wait on my wedding night to be of service to him.
Exactly.
That's going to show up even before I become a wife. Now, if we're talking about sex, since we're grown and we're having a real conversation, and that's like a moral thing for you, like I don't want to give my body to my person until they're my spouse, then that's your moral conviction. As long as y'all are both on the same page and you understand that, fine. But that has nothing to do with exhibiting the wife qualities or the husband qualities that you're going to be exhibiting when you actually say I do.
Exactly.
The I do process is the commitment process. But a relationship, I think among monogamous people, there's a level of commitment that comes with that as well.
It does.
Now, there's some people who say, I'm single until I get the ring. I mean, I just don't subscribe to, yes, you're technically single on your text form, you're single. But I think that there is a level of commitment that you have made to that person unless you all have decided that you can date other people, you can explore other people. I mean, you got to kind of have that commitment before you can get proposed to.
Right.
Because technically proposal for some people means that they're still single. And that's a very faulty way, to me. That's a weird and faulty way of saying things because you'll never get to marriage if you see a monogamous committed relationship as singleness. To be coupled is to be coupled. To be single is to not be in a relationship. To be engaged to is to have been proposed to. And to be married is to say I do and to make that outward show of your commitment to each other with a certificate and with a ring.
Yeah, it goes back simply for me to you have to be a wife before you become a wife. If that person that you're dating doesn't see you as a wife, then they're not going to marry you.
Right.
They're not going to get down on one knee. They're not going to propose. So that's why it's so important. And I believe it's one of those things we've been taught that is basically stopping us from not having the relationships and even the marriage that we want to have. Because if I don't practice being this person now, I want to wait to practice it when it's actually time to do it. Then how does that person know that you're going to do it when it's time to do it?
Right. And how do they even know that's a part of your mind state?
Right.
Because I can say a lot of things, but when you're in a relationship, like that's me showing you who I am.
Right.
That's kind of me showing you what life looks like with me.
Exactly.
And it's not a show. It is just me being who I am.
Right.
Before we got married, if we were hanging around family and different things like that. My thing is to fix your plate and I give you your plate. You do the same for me.
Right.
It's not like a thing that I'm trying to show him, like, this is what you're going to get when you get married to me. Like, this is what I do. If I was with my family, I'll fix my sister's plate. I'll fix my mom's plate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that is who I am. But for me to make a point to say, well, until you marry me, I'm not going to fix your plate. Tell me, stop being weird. Because I'm like, I am a wife. Like you said, I'm a wife before we even got married.
Exactly.
And so, and you're a husband before you got married. So you coming and doing the things that you do sweetly for me to make sure that I'm good, I'm taken care of, I'm escorted to safety to where I need to go. that's what you do because that's who you are. You would do it for your sister.
Right.
You would do it for your nieces because that's who you are. You're not going to say, oh, well, I'm not going to do that. Why would I show her that? To me, that's being silly. And I think it's a defense mechanism that we have at this time, that people are trying to hold out certain things because they feel like that's going to kind of give that person an ultimatum or push that person to go ahead and do something. But when you are confident in who you are, that, you know what, I'm a pretty dope person. Like, I have a lot to offer. I'm not perfect, and that's fine. And in fact, I think we need to stop trying to quantify that. But I am a good person, and I know I have goodness to offer someone. Then you don't have to try to dangle yourself in front of someone like a carrot and try to withhold things so that you can get ultimately what you really want, which is marriage.
Right. I'm going to give you an analogy that I believe is going to really help. And it's one that you know, actually. When I was in high school, I was in the high school marching band, and you were as well. And this directly goes to practice. As you get on that field, your drum major, your band director is going to tell you one thing: practice, and practice hard. And there's a reason for that, especially if you are a freshman or you're new to the band, because they understand that when it's time to perform, you want to go hard. You want to make sure you do all the steps right. You want to make sure you dance perfectly. Yeah. But if you didn't practice it the same way you try to perform it that night, you're going to be hurting.
Yes.
And that's what people don't understand, is that you can sit up here and say, oh, I'm not going to practice something now. I'll just do it when the time comes. But what that means is you're not really prepared to go all out when that moment shows up. And that's when you get hurt. We have seen, I know you saw it too, people lying on the ground, cramping, all of this because, game day, time to perform, they going 100%. My mama in the stands, my cousin in the stands, my boyfriend or my girlfriend in the stands. I got to show out. But when they were practicing, just going through the motions.
You don't have the juice. You don't have the juice. You don't have the energy. You don't have the stamina to keep up.
Exactly.
Because in those practices, you're building those muscles. You're building your wind. You're getting your flow.
That's it.
You're going hard. Because I know my majorette instructor, I mean, you were going to be right. You were going to be prepared because, like you said, they know that once that adrenaline starts going and once you start feeling yourself and you want to show out on that field, then you're going to give it your all. But if you don't have the juice, you're not going to make it.
Yeah. Like they said, practice like you want to perform. And it's the same thing in relationship. Practice hard, go hard in practicing the relationship you desire so that when it's time for that person to come, they like, man, they like, man, you ready. And so that makes it easier for that person to choose you because they know you ready. It's not about, well, maybe they are, or I think they are. No, you've already did it. You practiced it 100 times. You ready to go. It's like Michael Jordan. It's nothing for him to hit those shots when it was game time because he practiced harder than anybody else. Kobe Bryant, the same thing. They practiced harder than anybody else. So when it was game time, it's easy to do.
Oh, this is good.
Go ahead.
What it reminds me of is when your practice becomes a part of you, it becomes your lifestyle.
Exactly.
And so now you're not even just practicing. Now you can instruct. Now you can be a mentor to other people because this is a part of your life. It's like working out. It's like living a healthy lifestyle. At first, it's practice. At first, you got to learn the correct form. You got to learn exactly how many reps, and you got to learn how to cut, and then you have to learn how to bulk. But then once you actually start doing that systematically every day and it becomes a part of your life, then it's a part of your lifestyle.
Exactly.
Be authentic to yourself. Be real with yourself. Be real with the person that you're dating and that you're married to. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to live a life with this person, and you don't want to be in constant unhappiness every single day of your marriage and your relationship. I mean, you're going to have your days that you have to go through things because that's life. That's whether you with somebody or not. But you want to be able to grow with this person and for this life to be a life that you desire and want.
Yeah. Now, I want to add to what you were saying, because I think there's another thing about practicing that we have to understand. Yes, you have to prepare yourself and practice hard for the relationship that you desire. And that practice is going to show up in a way that that person is going to say, hey, they're prepared for this marriage or this relationship, right? But also there's a reason why they say that someone is practicing law or practicing medicine. And it's because that practice continues.
Wow.
Even when you have perfected what it is that you want and you actually have that person, the practice still continues, and it differs a little bit because guess what? Kobe Bryant, even though he practiced hard, he practiced with this team in this year. Maybe there was some new teammates that he got that came in the next year. Well, they hadn't practiced with Kobe Bryant.
Right.
So now there's that new person that you have in your life. It was one thing to practice to have them come in, but now, as you said, you're practicing the marriage, how you're maneuvering in the marriage, the many days, months, and years. So you're still practicing. You're still staying on top of your game, because as it is, a lawyer, when they're practicing law, they don't know everything the first 2 or 3 years.
Right.
That's why most people want a lawyer that's practiced for 30 years or more, because they know they know so much of the law. They forgot what most young lawyers even begin to know. Same thing with somebody practicing medicine. The longer they practice it, the more they know. So it's that wisdom that you gain by not just practicing just to get to the wedding day, but it's also that continued practice, not just saying, oh, I got it. That's really what the situation was with Allen Iverson. Is like, I'm so good, I don't need to practice. That's them that need to practice. But no, we still need you to practice with us so that we get better. We continue to get better with you. And that's the thing with practicing in that marriage or in that relationship, is you're practicing with that person so that you all get better as you all go through the process.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So we'd like to just thank you again for joining us. This was another wonderful power-packed show. We talked about a lot of good topics that we really think will be helpful to you all. Also, we don't want you to forget, we do have an ebook, and we definitely want you to get that. We're not going to beat you down with it today, but we definitely want you to get that, because a part of practicing and preparing for the relationship you want is knowing the right questions and asking the right questions and getting the information that you need from those questions. That's going to prepare you and make sure that you're practicing what you need to practice in order to have that relationship you desire. So trust me, the ebook is just another wonderful tool that you can use when you are practicing and preparing yourself for the relationship you desire. So for myself, Doc Love, this is Lady Love. We are the Why Is This So Challenging podcast. And like we say always, live and love fearlessly. We are out of here.
Peace.